Welcome to our Origin series, where we focus on explaining the origins of superheroes and villains while we work on the larger videos explaining the story arcs. If you're new to the channel, we've been explaining a lot of the Lantern Corps members over the last couple of weeks to prepare for some of the upcoming Lantern Complete stories. So, we typically give you guys a single high-profile member of each Corps, and we explain how they warranted their power ring. They showed great love, great will, great rage, or great greed. But the Indigo Corps, they work a little differently. So while we are going to explain Indigo-1 and her origins, there's a lot more to explain about them. The Indigo Tribe began as a secret project from Abin Sur, one of the greatest Green Lanterns and the man who actually gave his ring to Hal Jordan eventually. You see, he discovered the light of compassion on a planet known as Nock, and with the help of the natives of this planet, he created the Indigo Power Battery. Now, the Indigo light has a unique effect on living beings. If you have no compassion at all, it'll force you to feel nothing but compassion. So, Abin Sur created a plan to force the universe's worst killers and psychopaths to feel compassion for their actions. But before he decided to reach out and grab as many of these individuals as he could, he decided to test it on someone who was close to him, someone who felt no compassion for her previous actions. This woman would be later known as Indigo-1, and she's actually the woman who killed Abin Sur's daughter, and she's been imprisoned on Oa this whole time. Well, he takes her and he subjects her to the light of compassion, which allows her to become the first member of the Corps. The Indigo Ring is actually a parasitic ring in nature, and it forces the emotion of compassion onto the individuals that wear the ring. Because of this, it forced Indigo-1 to stop being a psychopathic killer and feel remorse for her actions. As she stated, the moment that she put the ring on, she spent that entire first night crying for everything that she did. Now, since this had the power to convert the universe's greatest psychopaths, Abin Sur began to bring many others to the planet to build out a complete Indigo Corps. Monk was among these additional members, and he acts as the second in command, and he goes by Indigo-2. But we don't know what he did to be deemed a prisoner of the Indigo Ring. Now, Abin Sur created this Corps for one purpose: to stop the Guardians. With all of the Blackest Night prophecies floating around, Abin Sur was more concerned with what happens after the Blackest Night. You see, Abin Sur knew the Guardians of the Universe couldn't be trusted. He knew of their history in which they did some things that just seemed weird and caused problems to arise. Situations like Krona, the Manhunters, and whoever actually got the emotional spectrum before the Guardians. Where was he? These are things that he wondered about, and he was worried that the Guardians would eventually utilize their power to kill and annihilate everyone. So he created the Indigo Lantern Corps to eventually convert the Guardians instead of fighting with them, just in case they went crazy or insane. Basically create some way to make them feel remorse for any of the actions that they are planning to do. Well, when we finally discovered all of this about the Indigo Corps, Hal Jordan informed the caretaker of the lantern that Abin Sur had actually died. So the caretaker shut off the lantern and tried to spend the rest of his life with his family before the Guardians could possibly kill him also. Now, that's a completely separate storyline from the origins of the Indigo Lantern, but I just wanted to let you know how much they relied on Abin Sur. We'll eventually get to this story properly. Now, the ring effects only last and force someone to change while they're wearing the ring itself, and the central battery is active. So whenever the Indigo Ring is removed, the individual will go back to the way they used to. Now, if that's a psychotic killer, then they're a killer again. So when the battery was turned off, every Indigo Lantern resorted to their original ways, and they began to battle with any allies that they were working with at that exact moment. But it was Indigo-1 that actually retained her remorse for killing Abin Sur's daughter. And she begged the Lantern caretaker to reactivate the lantern and give her her ring back, and allow her to feel compassion once again. What this means is that Abin Sur's plan worked, and eventually, all the people with the rings will feel remorse and they can be officially changed. Now, in the end, the Indigo Lanterns are selected for their lack of compassion, so it can fill that void for them. But there is one time that a member was selected for his overwhelming compassion, and that was Ray Palmer, also known as the Atom, when the Blackest Night events started. It didn't leech itself onto him, and he was able to retain his thoughts and his attitude that he had before getting the ring. Indigo Lanterns also get a unique set of powers. They are able to force compassion onto people who are lacking it, teleport, and heal people with great empathy, and channel other emotions. Basically, since the ring is a parasite ring, it forces you to feel nothing but compassion for everything. Because of this, the wielders of the ring can channel the other emotions through their staffs, which allows them to have the powers of the other cores. It's a lot trickier than the White Lantern rings though. The White Lantern rings allows you to just use the other powers, while the Indigo Lantern has to actually channel it, and it can only tap into one at a time from what we've seen. And that's it. The origins of Indigo-1 herself are short, so I wanted to fill you guys in on a few other interesting elements with the Indigo Lanterns. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit us up on Twitter at Comicstorian and we'll talk to you about it. Otherwise, we'll see you next time right here at Comicstorian.